Cover, you want cover? You want cover?
Water.
Cover, you?
Water.
Water, two.
Pani. Sada water pani. Yeah? You're excited, yeah? You're live now.
Assalamu alaikum, good evening everyone. Hope you're well. It's Mr. Ali here with his regular community wellbeing show, coming to you from the studios of Radio Aapki Awaz. It's been a sad few days for all of us associated with Radio Aapki Awaz, because one of our good friends, one of our supporters, ambassadors, Mr. Aji Ijaz Siddiqui, has sadly passed away at his home, and it was a wonderful, charismatic and a community man who worked tirelessly. We're just having some technical issues. Trying to get to the bottom of it. Yeah, we worked tirelessly to improve social cohesion, to ensure that the Pakistani Kashmiri identity was well announced and also was well established here. And he will be a sad loss to us all, inshallah. And as soon as we know about when the funeral prayers will take place, we will inform you. Until then, please keep him in your prayers and your thoughts as well. So that's where we are. But today I have the pleasure of inviting a good friend of mine, Khalid, known as Cal. And he's brought along with himself a young youth ambassador by the name of Mohammed to come in and talk about some of the excellent initiatives that they are undertaking and organising. So, Cal, how are you? I think this is the third time now that you are. About 3-4 times now that you are. So, I think you're well due your own radio station, your own radio show now, aren't you? yeah. So
I'm trained up by you guys.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Cal, and he's also now joined with him a young man that seems to have a wonderful career in front of him by the name of Mohammed, and you are the youth ambassador, is that right?
Yeah, youth ambassador. I've been working alongside Cal at Cal's community projects for a couple of years now.
Yeah.
So, I'm just really excited today to go over some of the initiatives and events we've done.
No, absolutely. It looks as though you're not any older than 12, 13, so but you're very young. So, and without me, prying, how old are you?
I'm 20 actually. I'm 20 this year. Yeah.
Good genes, mashallah.
I get that a lot.
Yeah, mashallah. So, no, good. So, Cal, first of all, I know you've done a project about 4 to 6 weeks ago, where it was a community fun day. Unfortunately, I couldn't be there, but I know my colleagues from Radio Aapki Awaz were there to support you. So what was the objective behind that, and how did it go now?
The event, it was funded through the Lottery Community Fund.
Yes.
It was to celebrate the success of the Andy Street re-elected as a Birmingham mayor.
Yeah.
So we use this funding to kind of share our success, and also kind of inform the audience and our service users of some of the services which are available. And it was a great event. We've had Andy Street join us. We was very lucky for him to join us that day, because he had quite a lot of invites, but we was lucky for him to attend our event. We had a barbecue, we've had a face painting, we had a live music band. Also, myself and Mohammed, we delivered some of the success presentation of some of the success stuff we did. Also, made the wider community aware of the services Cal's community projects currently offer to the community. So it was a great, successful event. Mohammed Ali.
Yeah, no, thank you, Cal. Mohammed, you were there as well, and you were instrumental working alongside Cal to make this happen. So, first of all, before we even get your view on that, how did you and Cal initially meet?
So I met him through my dad. He's a very close friend of my dad's.
Yeah.
So I've always been seeing him here and there, popping down to our house. We go to his, and so just from there, I got introduced to what he does, and I showed some interest in it. It's a really good way to build not only my skills but also to get in touch with the local community and such.
Yeah, I must say, for a young person of your tender age to think about others, I think is a testament not only to yourself but also to your family as well. Because at that time, if I can now think back when I was 20, it was all about me, what I wanted to do. You're so self-centered. And you don't even think about community, your society until later on when you mature. But fair play to you for you to get involved at this young age. And and the way I see it is, it's a great way of having a good life here, but also to make it good for your akhirah in the next world as well. So if you make that intention, then you're a win-win situation as well. So talking about the event that Cal touched upon, so what was your involvement, and now that you've had a number of weeks to reflect and evaluate, how do you think that went? And if you were to do it again, how would you make it better?
So I think it went really well. What I did there was I was presenting the presentation. So
nice.
I was a bit nervous considering it was quite a big crowd, but
Andy Street was there as well.
Yeah, he was sitting front row. I was very nervous.
Not easy.
No,
not easy.
But, it's one of those things. You just gotta force yourself.
Yeah.
Even if you're not comfortable,
you
just
gotta
gotta
push
put yourself there.
You gotta push yourself. Absolutely.
Yeah, it just helps in it. Just building not only yourself, but down the line, because I can say that I've presented to not only a big crowd but also Andy Street himself.
Yeah.
And also at the same time, it's a really great way for me to just get to know some faces, a lot of faces that I haven't met before.
Yeah.
So it was fun. It was really fun.
And I think that you've got a great mentor in Cal, because you do need that. I had another young person here maybe about 2 months ago now, and when he was about 13, 14, and his dad, he's part of Green Lane Masjid, and he does enormous amount of community work. And he, as a 14-year-old, he's making some wrong choices, and now that he's 19, he's had a chance to reflect, to not only correct himself, but he's now giving back. He's now sort of trying to teach other young people about some of the errors that he's made, so they can learn from his experience as well. And we need more of that. And again, he's got a great example or a role model in his father. And I think you've got a great role model. And I was telling him as well that having a mentor, just to guide you, professionally. And I'm working with one young person as well to try to sort of teach him how to set up a CIC, how he can develop himself in terms of his own skill set, in terms of some of the initiatives and projects that he's doing. And I think not only is it satisfying for yourself, but I think as a mentor as well, is a great skill set. But also for you to have someone who's maybe got 20 years plus on you in terms of age, to learn from their experiences, whether it's good or bad, and be able to learn from them, so you're not able to then have those same bumps that they had. I think it's a godsend. I didn't have a mentor. I've got a couple of people that I go to for advice and stuff, but I think it's absolutely important. Talking about mentor, Khalid, being a very modest person that you are, in your opinion, how important is it to guide young people like Mohammed who want to do community initiatives, who may need that just advice and bit of guidance just to steer them in the right direction?
I think it's really important. I think a mentor, it can help youths go so far. It can help them with their career. It can help them with their mental health. Just a few positive words can transform their lives.
Yeah,
and I think it's if you've got that facility out there, families should kind of get their youngsters engaged and sign on to a mentor and take advantage of these services, because they can guide you, they can listen to you, they support you, they can help you with CV writing, career, sort of future, and kind of stir you out from the gang violence and, drug abuse and alcohol abuse. Some of the services we offer at Cal's Community Projects, as Mohammed in the past is aware of being born bred in a very marginalised area which we grew up in. and some of the people around us either are no longer here today.
Yeah.
And some are either in mental homes or some are on the streets abusing drugs. And it's just sadly they didn't have them kind of services, and if they did, maybe it could have been better. So it's really important, I think, that youths take on an opportunity to have a mentor.
Yeah.
And Mohammed can maybe share himself his experiences having some of the services from myself and our team.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think one of the key findings from the British Pakistani report that was published about 3 months ago was the identifiable lack of mentors that we have that we can go to. And that was one of the key things that they wanted to build and certainly progress on next time they do it. So I think Cal's given you a real entry there. So in terms of how has it been for you, Mohammed? I know he's sitting right in front of you, but how has it been having a mentor? And also, him trusting you to take a large responsibility and ownership of a lot of these projects at such a young age.
Yeah, no, it's really like you said, growing up in, not the best area, it was really important for me to have a mentor. But not only that, as I said, I know him through my dad, so
Yes.
it was more than a small family, like a family friend, more just family. So it was just, as much as I'd, like to take credit for all of it, I do really owe a large part of not only my personal development, but just where I am today to Cal, for just not only setting me on the right path, but just keeping me there.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So, I think one of the key skill set at this stage in anyone's career is being able to carry out public speaking. And it takes a certain amount of preparation, practice, confidence, coaching as well, and I think it's a key differentiator. So if you've got 10 people in the room and you are able to present, and if you are able to talk in front of, say, 50 people, 100 people, that will, set you apart from those. And, is this something that you've always been comfortable with, or how have you developed into becoming or going onto this path? Because I know a lot of people, my own son is 16. When you get to that age, and I remember it, you can become really self-conscious. You're always thinking about the negative, what's going to happen, what your mate's going to be thinking. And, now as you get older, I'm very comfortable with public speaking, but I know when I was that age, I would, shy away. And I had to do what you do. I said, no, I have to trust myself. I have to push myself into that situation, because if I don't, this is going to almost hold me back in every direction and every way possible.
Yeah, no, I don't think there's a single person out there who's, just born being able to just speak publicly. It's really daunting and scary once, not only like when you're presenting to people, but just in general, like you said, you're always thinking about what other people are thinking of you. So it's just one of those things. As you grow, you do kind of grow out of it, but you do also have to put a certain amount of effort into it.
Yeah, I agree.
So putting yourself out there.
I think another thing Mohammed Ali was saying is on that day, let's just give an example of going back to our event day, which when we was about to present, do you remember the nerves? And I'm going to share some of the stuff, and then like what I've told you and how like you come around. And it was amazing.
I remember just as we were about to present, a couple of minutes before, I was just sat in the corner next to some of the people that were with Andy Street. And I was just so nervous, just trying to make small talk with them, trying to see, hey, have you guys ever presented before? But once I did get up there, I was still nervous, just shaking, my throat dry.
Yeah.
But it was really helpful seeing, Cal sat right next to Andy, just front of the crowd. Anytime I feel a bit nervous, just look at him, give me some tips, like, just put the mic a bit closer to your face. And all that. So, it was daunting, but just knowing that there are people, around you that aren't going to judge you.
And you must have had a real buzz afterwards.
Yeah,
What's all the fuss about?
I think what had happened was Mohammed, he's okay presenting to few people, but this was a large audience. Andy was there. We had Mr. Hansworth, MEB from the Queen. We had Cash the Flash boxer, heavyweight champion. We have various other people from different communities joining us. And I said to Mohammed, look, nothing is wrong or right. you just gotta be yourself and do it. And all I see, Mohammed just transformed himself.
Wow.
And even the mayor said, "Well done, you've done a great job presenting." And I was just seeing the look on Mohammed's face. You know, Mohammed, that was perfect.
No, great.
So how did you feel that day, Mohammed?
You know, that's a really good thing that I, even till today, I like to repeat to myself. Just as long as you're doing something, you know, you're putting yourself out there, there's nothing that you can do that will be wrong. There's no mistakes you can make. The only thing you can do is just learn from it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And Mohammed, obviously, that must have given you a real boost to your confidence. Moving on now, you always have a bar, and after each event or after each particular timeline, that bar creeps up. You always are moving onwards and upwards. So after that now, so what are your current projects or initiatives that you are now involved with Cal's community projects?
So we do have a few more events coming up that I don't think I should talk about yet.
It's early stages.
Give us a little teaser. Give us a little teaser.
We are just, obviously, as you know, with funding cutbacks, we are putting some projects through.
Great.
So it's early stages.
Yeah.
But some of the services we're doing with Mohammed, you can share about some of the work on mentoring
we do
and some stuff you do. That's not a problem. We are going to create a few projects coming in where there's going to be a few events similar like what we did.
Yes.
Like engaging the community, the family, and some of our service users who we work with. So that is early stages, and we're building on that, and hopefully we get some successful funding, and then we can carry on working on that. But currently, Mohammed's influencing a lot of young people. He can let you know yourself, like some of the stuff you're doing.
Yeah, I am really, pushing for a lot of my friends and the people I know to just get into volunteering. And not only my friends, but people I know that are younger than me, my siblings, their classmates, all that. Because it is a really, good way to not only use your time, but use it productively, rather than, either just sitting at home or, other less favourable options.
No, well said as well. And what I find is that if you've got one person in your network or in your circle of friends that is, should we say, volunteering, if he's smoking, doing drugs, sooner or later you will follow his or their path. It could be he or she. Let's not just generalize it. It's a he. And if someone's going down the volunteering in a good, positive vibes, then sooner or later people want to say, "Oh, Mohammed, I'm interested in that. Oh, okay, what are you doing over there? Well, let me tag along." And before you know it, you'll have a small little army that will be following you, because everyone wants to, have someone, showing them a direction. And I think it's important that we have more young role models who are able to steer, because, like I said, me and Cal can do it in our own capacity. But, we're of a slightly older age range now, where people say, "Oh yeah, look what so-and-so is saying. Yeah, he's just, uncle going off on one." But when it's their own mates, when it's their own circle of friends, they are much more likely to listen and to be influenced by one of your own sort of your mate, should we say. So let's not negate that in any kind of way. So please, as soon as more projects are on the horizon, obviously subject to funding. I know it's getting more and more difficult now to get these initiatives without funding, whether it's from HS2, whether it's from National Lottery, or whether it's from Andy Street or from the PCC. As you can imagine, the council now is on its knees, so they've got absolutely nothing now. They probably want money off you rather than be in a position to fund you for any work stream.
Yes, I definitely agree with that. I think so. That's one of the key things, because we're a grassroots organisation.
Yes,
we're lacking to kind of expand on that. But we're not giving up with some of the services. Like Mohammed volunteers a lot, and we've got various other people like him who come in and volunteer and support our service users. And our goal and aim is just giving something back to the community, and hopefully with time we shall develop and expand.
I'd like to share my own experience, if I can, with you, Mohammed. It's probably the wrong time of the year, but we got in touch with a chap by the name of Abdul Majid, who runs Blackwell Court and Pikes Pool, and lovely facility just around, where Lickey Hills is, just beyond there, and it's absolutely, very minimal charge. And the reason why I mention that is because, I'm born and bred and raised in Alderm Rock. very seldom do we get a chance to go out in the countryside. So I think once I've been to the mountains in Wales, Snowdon, and a couple of times I've been here, and also the ones in Derbyshire Dales. And when I go there, I'm thinking, why am I not here more regularly? Because the air is much cleaner. You're walking, you're exercising, you're out in the fresh air, and all your stress, your troubles go away. And I just feel as though people from deprived inner city areas need to be exposed to such opportunities as well. So if that is something that you think that you could do possibly next year. Obviously, mountaineering and trekking you can do any time of the year, but they have all sorts of activities. You have those, that sort of swing that you go down, zip wire. Sorry, you have water activities, canoeing, barbecue, all sorts. And I'm sure your young people and yourself could really benefit from engaging in such activities.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I feel like it's really important to. I think it's really split between surrounding yourself with not only good people but a good environment. So it's with today's life, people got school, work, so it is to a certain extent you're going to be trapped, in city, these boring, repetitive days. But it is really important to get those times where you can just get for yourself.
I think we've created an initiative at Cows Community Projects where we do wellbeing walks, and it's amazing. Some of the service users who come along, if you check our website, you can see some of the service users go in there, and if you check on kcpcic.org, and when they come back, they say, "Cal, you don't understand how fresh we feel. Just that couple of minutes in nature, that breeze, just relaxed and switch off and mindfulness, And I think more initiatives like that, if we had funding, definitely Licky Hills or, Snowdonia, or obviously it's the costs involved, taking minibus and food and, travel. And we are looking into initiatives like that in the summer and probably in the near coming future once we've secured some funding and we can move on. But we're still creating these initiatives where we always looking to do something out in nature, and that's a really great idea. And Snowboarding was on our list as well.
And I think we don't need to reinvent the wheel every time. Me and yourselves, we should have a regular conversation over coffee or on the radio. Really, just share best practice. We've got some amazing work here. You've got some amazing work, and we can share. Okay, what particular initiatives have really benefited yourselves, and vice versa. Really, because I think there's enough talent out there. We just need to collaborate.
Yeah, definitely. We're looking forward to collaborating. That'll be nice. But I believe early intervention works.
Absolutely,
and, especially catching youths early. For instance, like pre-16 sort of age. So because when I was 11 to 16, I remember my school days. They were nice days, And then when I left, and then I my school kind of closed down. I left without GCSEs, and look back to the circle. Some of the friends in that circle were normal kids, and now some are either in prison, some are either dead, some are in mental homes, some are on the street, and jobless. But kind of having these services where they can tap into like services like yourself. Some of the work you're doing with educating on drugs and various of the topics you touch on, kind of the workshops you deliver, similar to what we're doing in collaboration, expanding on some stuff we probably covered and some stuff we don't cover. You can kind of intervene in and cover that and collaborate and work on that together. And I think the community can benefit from that. And we definitely need more youth centres and some services available for the youths, because there's nothing out there for them to do. It's boredom, which kind of links them to kind of go towards crime and violence and and kind of drug abuse. So we need more initiatives, and we're always open to collaborating with the similar partners who do similar services with like ourselves. Yeah.
I'll tell you my own story, Kel. So going back about 3 years ago now, we had a community meeting over at one of the churches' community centre, and a lot of the people that went to that church, they were white, elderly, and they were really afraid. And this was around October time, so just when the evenings are drawing in a bit earlier now, like now, and they were scared of a lot of the young people hanging out on the street. So when they were coming off the bus or going to the local shop, they were really scared. And even though they weren't attacked or anything, just the numbers, just the intimidating was really off-putting. And they were saying, "Oh yeah, Mr. Ali, get the police involved, get them arrested, this and that." So look, they're not doing any harm. They just don't have anywhere positive to go and spend their time. And I said, "Look, if you are able to work with us, how about using the space that you've got here a couple of times a week and opening up as a youth centre?" And they were all like, yeah, wow. And now, 2 years later, we've been running the Phoenix Youth Hub now in collaboration with the local church, because we also tried some mosques as well, and we just didn't get any positive response at all. Evenings, and where the church were saying, "Look, yeah, come through. We will." They gave us the facilities free for a year, no charge for lighting, for room hire, for electricity. Who does that now? No one. They give us free, and we got all the equipment from our friends, family. We had to buy a few things that we couldn't get, but we've been running now for 2 years on a Wednesday evening and on a Saturday morning, where we've got a baking class, we've got Urdu class, we've got table tennis, PS4, all sorts, and it's a real hub, and we don't charge anyone.
So it's self-sustained.
Yeah, and again, it's what you were saying. This is about doing something. For those people that, absolutely, because you know what, there's people out there that just need to be brought together, and you need someone to, give them that vision and say, look, we're all part of a community. If I fail, you fail. So let's work together to try and give our youngsters who, in one way, a sense of belonging, but also, Cal, you know what, I mean, I think when we were growing up, say in the 80s and the 90s, it was a different era. It was a lot more innocent. But I now think, young people, I have a son who's 16, and some of the stuff that they're going through, like I said, they don't really, mix. If they do mix, it's on a PS4, and a lot of them will join online, and they're a lot more, self-conscious. They won't really, and even the conversations I've noticed, Mohammed, and this is not me casting aspersions, I've just observed that their conversations are very much one or two words. They're not able to sort of string a proper sentence together, because that's where it is. It's very spontaneous, very short, very concise.
It's just the differences from I grew up in the 90s, and it's just what we never had some of the stuff at that age, so we were more practical. Absolutely. Like going in the park, cricket, football. We used to have probably the pages.
Spend all day in the park.
I don't know whether we had the touch button phones. We never had the touch screen. We used to have button phones. So now it's a different era. They've got TikTok, they've got Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. They've got the computer games. All these virtual games and grime music. So a lot of these things contribute towards it. And we probably just dial out, talk on the phone, a couple of minutes, switch off. You're looking. Probably you wake up in the morning. 2 hours TikTok, 2 hours in the evening, Snapchat. By the time they get out of bed, they'll be drained out. They can't function. Never mind put a sentence.
Because it's like a sponge. There's a certain time where the sponge can't absorb any more water. You're maxed out. Same with the content. At some point you just So Mohammed, to you now, what is it like? For a 20-year-old to be growing up, I mean, you're slightly older, but if you're like, say, 15, 16, 17, 18, what is it like to grow in this area with so much, at your fingertips as well, but at the same time, is there that pressure that we're talking about, or is that something that we just, that's been spurted out on the media?
I think what you're talking about, this pressure, this social type pressure, is very real. It's to the point where, I was a victim of myself where during my younger years, 13, 14, I was really introverted, really just recluse, stay at home. Whenever I'm at school, just stay by myself, not really mingle. And I think that was really, made by not just social media, but the idea of it. That, you don't really need to see someone face to face in order to talk to them. So it might be just me, but I do know a lot of other people who've struggled with it where you know, social interaction isn't just words. It's also, you know, your physical,
Yeah.
you know, your gestures.
Yeah,
when,
yeah.
Like when we're talking face to face, it's a lot more different than if we just message each other.
Sure.
So I think it's just as kids are growing up, you know, and today, you know, when I was growing up, TikTok wasn't a thing, but there was probably something else for it. But you know, kids growing up today, they're
Snapchat
missing out
maybe,
on
yeah.
maybe yeah. But as kids are growing up today, if we would say, you know, they've got Instagram, they've got TikTok, they've got YouTube. It's just a lot of things just keep them occupied rather than, you know, stepping outside and just hanging out with each other. But
initially, some parents are happy. You know, initially the parents are happy. Yeah. My son, daughter is quiet. But when he becomes 2-3 months, they're thinking, this is now becoming ridiculous.
I think everything has a limit. We're not against it. You know, it's advantage having modern technology. And it has advantages and disadvantages. So we're not against it.
No.
But we just want to highlight, like, some of the service users, probably youngsters listening out there, they know that you kind of procrastinate, sit down for hours and hours, you know, just looking on there. And before you know it, you want to get up, it's 1 o'clock. You're mentally drained already.
Yeah.
So physically, you're drained out. So I think just having that time limit cap on there, probably half an hour or something, kind of, you know, there's no harm, you know.
Easier said than done. Easier said than done.
Just investing, maybe the parents can kind of.
I think the parents' intervention is important.
Because like
and also know what content that they're watching.
Definitely, they need that child protection on there. You know,
And what I have noticed is my own daughter, she's 13. And a couple of months ago, she started talking with an American twang.
Oh.
I'm thinking, where is she picking this up from? And then realised she was watching something on YouTube. It's an American program, and she was mimicking, she was now talking. I thought, wow, it shows how
very advanced.
How easily influenced people are.
Easily.
Yeah. No, it is.
That's funny that you mentioned that, because I during my younger years, when I was like 7, 8, I was in Somaliland, for a really long time down in Africa. And so my mainstream of English language, you know, learning the English language was through American shows.
Yeah.
So when I did come over here, you know, I was constantly told like, oh, wow, you have a really American accent.
Yeah.
It's like, nah, I didn't go America, just, you know, this is what I was raised with. So.
Yeah. Just a bit of an off question, Mohammed. I know I've got a lot of Somali friends as well, and they are really heavily influenced by American culture, the way they dress. They're into their basketball and they're into their sort of, real gear. Is that because of obviously what they see on TV, whether it's in Somaliland or whether it's in Europe as well? You know, there's a real I feel as though they're more influenced by the American culture than, say, maybe even the UK. Is that true?
Yeah,
or?
you know, it might be different for other people because, you know, a lot of people are raised here, especially Somali. You know, we got the first generation kids being raised here.
Yeah.
But, you know, as I was raised in Hargeisa, Somaliland, a lot of people that were raised there might agree with me that everything that's playing on TV that isn't just a Somali program, it's either cartoons or American films. Yeah, so it's just, you know, it's probably where it really gets picked up on, you know, the style, the slang.
Yeah. No, absolutely. So I'm going to sort of now just touch on a couple of important topics. We have a number of our young people who have lost their lives due to knife crime. It's not so bad compared to London, but the second city, Birmingham, is the second most affected area when it comes to knife crime. A lot of young people are affected by knife crime, and we've heard the stats that, you know, I think 2/3 of people that are stabbed with their own knives, and they carry that knife because they are fearful that someone may attack them. And, you know, obviously, you know, you may have someone that may carry a knife, may have been affected adversely as a result of knife crime. Certainly, I know we have here in Island Rock, and there's a couple of postcodes: Sparkbrook, Lozells, Handsworth, Island Rock, Small Heath. These are about 4 or 5 different areas are probably responsible now for 60-70% of all knife crime within Birmingham. Mm-hmm. So it is BAME inner city deprived areas.
Okay, is that some reports?
Report came out. So, you know, these 3-4 areas I've mentioned, they're responsible for about 60% of all knife crime in Birmingham. So it's not necessarily King's Standing, it's not Northfield, it's these inner city areas where we are, you know, affected by gun crime and knife crime. I just wanted to sort of, sorry, Cal, I'll let you know, I just want to get Mohammed's thoughts, you know, how much of a thing or knife crime is, at the forefront of young people's mind, or or do you have to be of a certain ilk? What I mean by that is you need to be involved with a gang, you need to be sort of, involved with sort of, running the streets, or if you've got a job, or if you're a student, then you're immune from it.
I think the biggest factor, what I personally think is the environment. As I was raised in one of the, I wouldn't say depraved, but it wasn't a well-off area.
Deprived, yeah.
Yeah. So, if it weren't for, people intervening, a lot of people that I hold dear, including Khalid, I really do think I would have ended up on, I wouldn't be here today. I would have been on a very different side of the beliefs I hold today. And so I do think, I'm a university student, so during my, during the week, I spend most of my time on campus.
Sure.
So I am surrounded by students, and while I don't want to say that students aren't, capable of violence or carrying out that, it is, there is a very big difference in the way people carry themselves on campus and then
compared to
certain areas. So I would say the, biggest factor is 100% your environment. And, from a young age, I'm sure you know how easy it is for younger kids, 13, 14, to get initiated into gangs with promises of money, clothes, phones.
Easily done. And the older gang members or drug dealers are particularly targeting young people, because one is that they'll get, if they get caught, it'll be less of a sentence. They are able to control and manipulate them as well, and chances are they'll be less likely to be stopped by the authorities. So more often than not, we've heard of 11, 12, 13, 14-year-olds running these phone lines, running these county lines as well, because they know that they can get away with it as well. And it's a sad situation, because once you're on that slippery slope, it's very hard to get out of it. I just want to touch on, before I bring in Cal as well, you mentioned that unless it was people like Cal and a few other people that came and advised, you intervened at an early stage. But what was it that was sort of attracting you or leading you down that path? Was it again the glamour? Were you sort of being forced into that position? Were the elder people just trying to lean on you and trying to sort of coerce you or manipulate you in a clever way? What was going through your mind, or what do you think you were? Why do you think you were going down that route?
The biggest thing is, and a lot of kids younger will agree with, is the main reason people get dragged into those sort of communities is definitely the vanity, the glamour. The money, the cars, the clothes, just looking, cool, which I wouldn't class cool, but that's what,
the perception is, yeah.
So, I'd be walking home and I'd see, a bunch of kids at the park, just chilling, having fun, coats on, designer brands. And you just look at them and think, I want that.
You want to be part of that.
Yeah. And then, slowly, day by day, inch a bit closer and closer until they notice you and, they just start pulling you towards it. And yeah, it's really sad, it's nothing, substance worthy that drags kids into these situations.
It's so complicated. So, on the face of it, what you're explaining, you're thinking, okay. But I know we are all impressionable. Yeah. It's like my son won't leave the house unless he's wearing a branded gear. And I keep on telling him, it's what's here that's important.
Yeah.
But
the period too.
Yeah, I don't know whether it's just at that age where it's more the outer gear than it is what's inside. But you keep on guiding them, and you think that hopefully at some stage it will sink in. But Cal, I know you've been eager to come in as well.
Basically, talking of knife crime and gun crime, one of our key thing we always focus on, kind of educating people, is no to guns, no to knives, yes to life.
Yeah.
We always got to kind of promote that and kind of reach out to the community and the youths and the people we work around. But I want to touch on one particular case. Like a few weeks ago, probably about, say, a bit longer than a few weeks, we'll say in about late August, I just had a call, and one of service users' father rang, and he said, "Cal, my son's been stabbed." And I don't know whether you've heard, it was on the news as well in University College Birmingham. It was a bright lad, and basically he was a boxer. He's turned 16, first day enrollment in college, and he went with a group of girlfriends who went to enroll in college, and there's some lads there who kind of had an issue with the girl, so then 4 or 5 lads come out and stab the young lad. Multiple stab wounds, is critical in hospital, still recovering. And, people think that they may not be involved or get involved in that. It could be anybody. You could be wrong place, wrong time and get involved. This young lad now, I was mentoring, coaching, but the way the incident happened, wrong place, wrong time, just straight there. So people need to be more educated and have a bit of awareness of what to watch out for, and especially certain areas, marginalized areas are suffering. The third sector organizations kind of need to step in and kind of create initiatives where they do workshops like KCP, where they educate young people on the consequences of carrying knives, carrying guns, or in some sort of criminal activity. Over the lockdown, Cows Community Projects worked on a video which we are going to be releasing in schools very soon, which I mentioned to you earlier. Its key focus is to educate young people and get them to reflect on joining gangs and the consequences of carrying knives and guns.
Great.
So we've got real life stories where there's ex-gang members, parents, victims. We've got the Deputy Crime Commissioner who's given a talk on some of the facts, and there's MPs and there's various other people, and we put a story together to kind of help these youths. We create this initiative where we believe that this video should be played at every single school, which is a third sector sort of marginalized area, where the violence is on the rise, to kind of create that prevention. Because there's boredom. If you go into Solihull or Sutton Coldfield, you're not going to get the crime rate that high with the youths or the knife crime or the gun crime. It's the areas you mentioned now that these are real facts. Because I know Birmingham is one of the highest gun crime capital in the UK at the moment. It's the highest gun crime. Knife crime was Glasgow, and London was homicide. So we're the second biggest city. And, talking of a real life, another experience I could share with you. There was an incident in one part of catchment area I work in, Handsworth. There was a brawl, like sort of fight with some youths.
Sure.
And then we diffused it. And as I got to the area, there's a police car just drove off and I pulled in. As I pulled in, I just opened my door and there was a large knife, very big knife, and as I got out, my foot just touched it. Luckily, I got it. God knows what could have happened. It could have gone to wrong hands. So I kind of put that straight, reported to the police, and just handed it in. And just a message, a strong message. Who was watching out there for the youths is, if you know anyone or if you've got any knives or guns, just put them away. You could go to your local police station and hand them in.
Anonymously.
Either give it to your youth worker to give it in, or a family member to give it in, because you don't want to see the consequences it can cause you and your family, the stress, the trauma. You're gonna have to live with some serious issues if you use that, and that's always our message. And so hopefully keep an eye out for that video. Anyone who wants to kind of support the schools, maybe some teachers or youth workers in youth centres want us to kind of create that initiative at their centre or school. We're always open. Mohammed can contact Mohammed.
No, absolutely. Kind of the other thing that I want to also touch on is, we've only got about 7 minutes left. Where has the time gone?
Yeah, it's gone.
And I want to touch on is something that's really apparent in Small Heath and Alum Rock is the nitrous oxide.
Oh yes.
There used to be
gas canisters,
there used to be the small silver canisters, but now you got the larger ones, and now I'm being shown the super large ones, about that big now. And we've done a great initiative here, working with the PCC, with the local mosques and Radio Aapki Awaaz to highlight the issue. And that's I've been reliably informed. The demand now has gone down by a third. But is that something that you've come across over in your neck of the woods?
We're looking to work on this issue. We have a lot of parents, a lot of service users concerned about this issue. and we have been educating there. We have put a workshop together, and we want to expand on that. Like I said, it's all about our funding. So with whatever we can do within our means, with the voluntary services, with our team, we are providing a message. And it'd be nice to kind of learn from yourself as well, work together and create an initiative where we can focus on the whole wider Birmingham to reach out and get the youths to put these away, because they're very dangerous. They can cause brain damage, paralyzed like below legs, and they're causing accidents on the streets, and so it's just the youths need to think and reflect on the consequences it can cause them,
Absolutely.
and is it worth getting brain damage just for a few seconds? And I know Mohammed was talking about one of his friends witnessed something which he was mentioning, I think, on a couple of days. You want to share Mohammed about the canisters your friend witnessed on the guy?
No. So I right now I live around Smithwick, so usually on my way there, whenever I'm taking my sisters from school to school, it's very concerning seeing those canisters on the ground, and not only on the ground, but you're also gonna frequently see people sitting in cars, usually young people, just abusing them, and it's really tragic because it's really easy the way it can go from them just having fun, dangerous fun, to just them needing an ambulance. There's really there's no thin line between. It's just one or the other.
Yes, I think there needs to be more awareness, more education, more people like ourselves and yourself need to get together and educate the community on the consequences, especially mosques, schools, churches, religious institutions, youth centres. I think we need to engage and kind of deliver workshops. That's our future goal. Hopefully, like on other initiatives we're doing, kind of create a workshop, a module within our other workshops we're presenting on the consequences of taking drugs as well. So we strongly promote some of the workshops on how to kind of avoid and the drugs and alcohol abuse as well. So it comes under some of the workshops we already put together, but we're expanding on that hopefully, and with yourself, I think we can reach
more
out.
than happy. More than happy. Last point I want to make before we draw the show to a close is about collaboration. You mentioned about religious institutions, schools, between community organisations, but I feel as though that there's so much to do. We have the VRP, the Violence Reduction Program. We have our PCC. We have our elected Metro Mayor as well. We have our elected members. We have our religious institutions. But are we really working together? Are we really collaborating, working in partnership to tackle these issues? And with some of them we've touched on. I have my own view, but I want to get the view of these two young people first.
I think that at the moment we're not engaging. We failed. I don't want to sound negative, but we've got a long way to go.
Yeah.
Because we want to stay positive.
Yeah.
So, for instance, like mosques within the Pakistani and the Somalian and the Arab community, there needs to be more involvement. We're lacking as the khutbahs are in Urdu or in Arabic. The youths from this new generation, they don't understand the Arabic and Urdu. So if we can kind of deliver talks in English and maybe touch on some of these problems in English, it can eradicate the problems. But I think we've got a long way, and we need to get as many organizations like ourselves on board, create a platform, maybe with yourself leading another organization leading on this, and going to even all religious institutions like churches, mosques, temples, working with all faiths.
Yes.
Because we live as a community, and we need unity within the community.
Yes.
And that's only going to happen if we engage and kind of work together and tackle this issue. So I think definitely we need to put more time in and see how we can work.
Thank you, Mohammed. Your views on this? Are we really working together in collaboration, partnership with the different organisations and institutions I've just mentioned?
Yeah, no, 100%. I really do agree with the points Cal made. It's it really comes down to not only educating people but also collaborating with each other to educate people. Because simply by just collaborating with others, we can greatly increase our reach, which the effects of that would just be outstanding.
Yeah, no, great, and I fully concur. And
Yeah, definitely, because for the like you mentioned now, like some of the stats which have been released recently, these are marginalized areas where it's a Muslim community as well, and we work with diverse background. We work with Christian, we no matter which faith or color you are, we will work with you, but we got to look where they're failing, and how can we tackle this as a team. I think we need to create more workshops, more engagement, and we're definitely failing. We need to engage with the police, youth centres, schools, college, universities, the NHS. They should have all the stats there. I speak to doctors. I've had a few workshops with some doctors on some of the effects of drugs and the rise of knife crime and gun crime. Some of the doctors now say that they can't even cope with how many gun wounds and knife wounds are coming in. Before, there was only a few doctors trained on in the hospitals on knife wounds and gun wounds. Now it's a
proper team.
Must for all of the doctors to kind of get trained on with knife and gun wounds. So it's a really serious problem out there, and those who probably listening on the radio, probably from various institutions or organizations, we urge that you get in touch with Mr. Ali and form together a group where we can lead to tackle these issues.
What a great way to finish the program. All about unity, all about collaboration and partnership. That's what CAL's Community Projects is all about. This is what Radio Aapki Awaz is all about as well. So until next week, please continue to look after yourselves and each other as well. And next week I will have Brother Shiraz Yaqub, who is a nasheed artist for Ashiq Rasool, who will be telling me about the life and the seerah of the Prophet, peace be upon him, and also will be doing some live nasheeds for us as well. So that's to look forward. Well, until next week, continue to look after yourselves and each other. God bless.